Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hello everyone and welcome to another show of sooc.live. Hello Ritchie, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. Good to see you, Natalie, and glad everyone who has joined us today to watch this show, participate in it. It's an interactive program, so go ahead and comment, ask questions, speak to each other, speak to us. You know, we're happy that you're here and this opportunity to chat with you.
Yes, absolutely. It's great to be back once again and to see everyone tuning in. Thank you so much for joining us today. Just on the side note, I want to send an apology for my voice at the moment. I've been terribly sick with the horrible flu and I'm a lot better, but once in a while my voice is just a little bit creaky, so apologies for that. I'll try my best not to cough into the microphone at any point. But yeah, it's wonderful to be here. We have a great show lined up. A lot of exciting things have happened in the Fujifilm quarters over the last couple of weeks. So we are happy to report on a few things that have happened. Ritchie's been here, there and everywhere. For everyone who follows his blog, know that he's been a very busy man. And yeah, we're going to just, enlighten you a little bit in case you don't know. And we have a live guest today, so it's super exciting to be chatting to him a little bit later. Maybe we should say hello to him? How about that? Let's just have a look. See here, there's some comments still coming in. Great to see everyone commenting. Warm up your fingers. Let us know where you're watching from. And get your questions lined up. We have a bit of an interactive discussion with our live guest. And if you have any questions, please, shoot them our way and we can discuss them, in a threesome today. So I'm looking forward to that. Who all is here today?
I see Dan Allen from New York is here.
Yes. How's it? It's very good to see you here. And Dan is also back. Good morning to you. It's great to have you here. Torsten, thank you so much for tuning in. Nice to see familiar faces. But I can also see some new people. Joss is here from France. It's great to have you. But I can see in the corner of my eye, I see new comments coming in. That's quite exciting. Angela is here from Brighton. It's great to have you back, Angela. Thank you so much for being here. And then we have Enrico, another familiar face, representing Italy. Nice. And I can see, there we go. Someone from Mauritius. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's great to have you here. Not sure if it's your first time. If it's your first time and you're tuning in, let us know. We'll send you a nice round of applause. And maybe there are some people who've been watching for a very long time. Well, I know there have been, so
it's always amazing. It's always amazing to see people from across the world tuning in, and that's always amazing to me,
Yes, like here we have someone from Sweden.
Yeah.
And and the Netherlands. There we go. It's very cool to be chatting to everyone. Oh, and funny, we have someone from Göttingen in Germany. Well, we will lift the secret to that just now. Shall we let everyone in on the... he's here for the first time, and we know why. Okay, I'm going to just bring in someone. Oh, wow. Before we go, there's someone from Australia. It's very late by you. Julie, we appreciate you tuning in. Yes.
Well, thank you. That means a lot for you to stay up till 1 a.m. just to tune in for us. That's amazing.
Yeah, we are honored. Thank you. That's very cool. But let us just quickly greet our guest for today. Simon, I hope you're ready for us. There we go. Hello. Simon. Simon Hügly is joining us from Göttingen in Germany, which is why I had to laugh when I saw the comment just now. Your fans are here for you.
Right on time.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Simon.
Thank you for having me.
It's very, very cool to have you here. Everyone, Simon, send him a round of applause and big thumbs up. I'm sure he's a little bit nervous. Just feel him, make him feel welcome. And we will be sending him back into the green room just now, just for us to get our admins.
Now that Simon's here, Natalie and I can leave, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, we should. We should just hand over the mics. No, we're not going to do that. We will chat to you, Simon, just now. He's prepared a little bit something for us. We'll get spoiled with lots of awesome photographs and your testimony of how you ended up here today and a bit of a journey. So we are looking forward to that.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Simon.
Yes.
Thank you, both of you, for having me.
It's fantastic to have you here. All right. Before we get spoiled with lots of awesome pictures from you, we are going to go into a little bit of a report back and some other awesome pictures about what you've been experiencing, Ritchie, because you have, like I said, you've been on quite a bit of an adventure with Fujifilm of late.
Yeah, it's been a journey for sure, and so I guess to rewind a bit, I don't know how much you want to talk about all this. We could go into a lot of detail, or we could just brush over it really quickly. But basically, in late January, I got a call from someone at Fujifilm North America, and they just said Fujifilm wants to work with me in this coming year in 2024, and just kind of see how things go. And they didn't know what that was going to look like, and I kind of had no idea what that was going to look like. So one of the things was that ended up coming of that is they sent me a Fujifilm X-T50 to use for a few weeks, and as part of that, they also sent Amanda, my wife, and I to New York City. They flew us out there, put us in a hotel for a night, then put us on a bus the next day. We went up to the Catskill Mountains, met up with a bunch of other creators, and did photography. It was kind of a no strings attached kind of thing. Like we could do whatever we wanted as far as the gear we used or what kind of pictures. It was just kind of like, let's get these people together and see what happens,
And this was in the sorry to just jump in there, but to tell all the viewers, this was as part of the Fujifilm X Summit experience,
so
correct?
They brought us back down from the Catskills, and just like a couple hours before, they did this X Summit event in New York. The launch was in Australia, the actual X Summit, but they did an X Summit experience in New York City at a place called PhotoCare. There's a rooftop area where they can do events and stuff. And so they had it set up, and a few hundred photographers cycled through where they could actually try out the X-T50, the GFX 100S2, and all sorts of other gear. They had photographers, they had models, they had just all this stuff set up, and so I got to be a part of that experience. Got to meet some people that use film simulation recipes and that kind of stuff, and it was really neat to be able to do that.
So the launch itself that happened in Australia was obviously like at some ungodly hour for you guys.
Yeah.
Did you stay up for that? Or did you have your own launch at a more reasonable time of the day?
Yeah, so the official launch was at like 1 a.m. I think it started at 1 and finished after 2 a.m. And there were some people at the retreat that did stay up and watch that, and I was not one of them. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so the next morning, the camera had already been launched, and we could finally talk about it publicly at that point. But we basically were on a bus back to New York City. Got checked into our hotel, and then it was immediately go to this event. And I got a lot of stories to go along with that. I don't know which ones you want to hear, but
there is one story I want to hear. And that's
okay. I know there's one.
No, there's two stories I want to hear.
Okay.
The first one is a small one. I think,
Okay.
well, it's a small one for me, but I came across it, and I need to ask you, in all honesty, for everyone who hasn't read Ritchie's blog article, go and read it. But you're talking about a pizza topping, and I must say,
Yeah.
Please tell me, how can you eat sauerkraut on a pizza?
Okay, so this is a funny story. So one of the things, I'd never been to New York City. My wife and I, we had never been. That's our first time. But all this stuff was very choreographed. It was on a tight schedule and everything. We didn't have time to do anything. So it's the night before we're leaving. It's after the event is over. We're staying one more night, and then the next morning we're getting on our flight to leave. And it's about midnight, and we haven't had a pizza in New York. So yeah, we're determined. We're going to get pizza. Some people have told us we need to go to this place or that place. But this guy, a photographer named Shoddy, who does like fashion kind of photography in New York City, he tells us we need to go right across the street from where we're at. Is this place called Lions and Tigers and Squares, and it's not New York pizza, it's Detroit pizza. So, but he says of all the pizza places, that's his favorite. That's the best, right? And so, we trust him. He's a local. He knows. We go over there, and we're literally the last customer of the night because it's like midnight and they're closing. And so all they had left was cheese pizza. And it's Detroit style pizza. That's the reference to the Lions and Tigers, the Detroit Lions, the Detroit Tigers. And then their pizzas are square. So I guess there's a Wizard of Oz thing in there somehow. I'm not sure. But anyway. So we ordered that, but I guess they had a couple slices of what they called mustard pizza, but it was mustard and sauerkraut. And the guy had made it for us, and we didn't know. And he hands it to us, and he's telling, he's got an accent, and he's giving it to us, and he's like the mustard, and we're not understanding what we're looking around for mustard. We have no idea what he's talking about. Like, I've never put mustard on a pizza before, but sure, if you're insisting that I do it, I'll do it. But what we didn't realize is he was handing us a slice of the mustard sauerkraut pizza for us to try, and it's not anything. It's not anything that I would have ever ordered on my own or anything like that, because it doesn't sound very good. But,
no, it doesn't. Even without pizza is already a bit like skeptical.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was easily one of the top 5 pizzas I've ever had in my life. So if you're ever in New York City, go get some Detroit pizza at Lions and Tigers and Squares and get the mustard. And it was incredible. And maybe it was just because it was midnight and I was starving, but no, it was really good.
Okay.
It was really good.
I'll take your word for it, Ritchie, but I'm struggling. I must say that with my heritage, I'm a little bit of a burnt child when it comes to sauerkraut.
Okay.
But I hope that it is very different when it's on pizza.
Yeah, it was.
Let's leave it at that.
It was.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks to Shoddy for suggesting it. It was spot on. So so that's one story. So another story is that before the event, we got there. We were supposed to help set up, but everything was pretty much done. So we had a little bit of time to kill. So Amanda and I were just kind of walking around, and Fujifilm had rented out a bar across the street from the event where the people, after they went on the rooftop, because they were expecting about 300 people, but there was only enough room on the roof for about 100 people at a time. So they had it set up to where people could cycle through and then afterwards go to the bar and meet up there. But this was before the event. The bar wasn't open for them yet. And we were walking around. We walked past the bar, and there's some people in there. And I recognized one of them as being one of the Fujifilm people. So Amanda and I walk in, and, it ended up being like a business meeting, like a pre-event business meeting. And we just totally crashed it. And they ate up their appetizers and that kind of stuff. So it was kind of funny. It was like, we were clearly not supposed to be there, but they were very kind. They were very kind about it and everything. And generous to offer their leftover appetizers for us to snack on, because we hadn't had lunch yet either at that point. And it's like 3 in the afternoon or whatever it was. And so
okay, they were probably thinking like, out-of-towners.
Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of out-of-towners, well, not really out-of-towners, but people that you met.
Yeah. So I met
the people that you met.
Great people. Yeah. So I met Omar Gonzalez. Of course, you guys out there probably all know who he is. He came he had done earlier in the day a B&H live event, and he had reached out to me, or we had talked just a little bit before the show or before the event, and he said he might be there. And so I was crossing my fingers. I was really hoping, because I'm a big fan of his, and so sure enough, he came out and we were able to meet and talk. And he's a really great guy. He's just as goofy in person as he is on the videos. But I love that about him, and just he's got such personality, and he's very kind. And but it was cool. So I asked him about if he had the noir Fujifilm X-T20 that he shows in his videos quite a bit. And sure enough, he pulls it out of his pocket. He had his sweater pocket, and, pulls it out, and he had it. That's what he was using. And then he shows me on it that he was using my film simulation recipes. So that was like a huge honor. Yeah.
Nice. That's
so
awesome.
it was a huge honor to meet him and be able to speak with him. And I hope we can meet up again sometime. And he had shouted out Fuji X Weekly in some of his videos having to do with the XT50 and stuff. So it was a really great experience meeting him, meeting all the other people that I was able to shake hands with and talk about film simulation recipes and stuff. So yeah, it was very, very, very positive experience.
Nice. Well, here's a big shout out back to Omar. Thank you for being so awesome in real life.
Yeah.
And and for supporting and shouting out Fuji X Weekly whenever you can. And and if you haven't yet, go watch his latest video on the one on the XT50. It's hilarious. So don't miss out on that one. I was very entertained.
Yeah, coffee with the Fujifilm X-T50.
Yes.
Go watch it if you haven't seen it.
That's very nice. Excellent. Well, I'm sure you could carry on talking about this for much longer because it sounds like it's been a really awesome experience. Very happy for you. And I'm sure we will read more stories on your blog in weeks to come. And thank you for sharing those insights. We are not at all jealous. No, we're not. But talking about the summit, just to recap, in case you haven't watched any of it and have not been on social media anyway, we just wanted to quickly run through, for completion's sake, that Fujifilm launched a new GFX 100S version 2, which I'm sure is absolutely amazing, but neither Ritchie or I have tested it as yet. Neither have we tested this humongously new lens.
I gotta hold it. That was the closest I got. I gotta hold it.
How did it feel, Ritchie?
It was heavy. It was big and heavy. But the images that I've seen other people create with it are just fantastic. Amazing. Yeah. So I have no doubts that it is absolutely incredible gear. Yeah. But I didn't get it personally.
Yeah, I'm sure it's amazing. In case you ever get to use it, enjoy it. I'm sure it's absolutely incredible. We also have a new kit lens that has been launched. Neither of us have shot with this one either. But I think it's probably a really cool lens. I think it was quite a bit of skeptics before it was launched, especially about the variable f-stop. And because we all like the original kit lens so very much, and it's difficult to think that they could produce a better one, but I think they probably have. I have heard really good reviews about it. It's been launched to go together with the bigger sensors, so it will definitely produce great images. I'm hoping to be able to test it sometime in the near future, but I haven't yet. So
yeah, a couple of people at the retreat got to try it out. I didn't personally, but they seem to like it. So I mean,
Yeah. So that's quite exciting, but obviously the most exciting for us was the launch of the XT50. And Ritchie, you've been using it quite extensively, I believe.
yeah. So they sent it to me at, I don't know, what was it, to be beginning of May or maybe the end of April. I forget what day it actually arrived, but yeah, I was able to use it for a few weeks, and it took filled up a very large SD card. But yeah, I like the camera. I know it's kind of controversial because of the film dial and how it was implemented. Um, it was implemented the best way that it possibly could have been. No, but I really like it. I figured out a way to make it work for me. That I very much enjoyed shooting it that way, and I I know I probably in the minority here, but I really like the camera.
Yes, I've heard really good feedback from a lot of people. I have used it for a little while as well. It's standing here in front of me. I'm making friends with it. Apart from, I would say, the X100 series, I generally am more drawn to the bigger cameras, funnily enough. But it is definitely a great camera if you want to get your hands wet on the Fujifilm experience, and if you like film simulations, or if you know nothing about film simulations and looking for an introduction. So it's really interesting. The film dial is what I call Fujifilm's biggest statement to finally admitting that film simulations are a big thing for them. And just because of that, I embrace it. And I go, yay, finally, we have some word out of the Fujifilm corners that have been quiet for the longest time about this. And yeah, otherwise it's a powerhouse of a camera. It's got all the bells and whistles, a mini XT5. Some people compare it to an X100, I guess, because of the size. But yeah, it's an interesting camera. It's a cool camera. It's very powerful. And for everything that you want to know about it, go read Ritchie's posts. There are quite a number of them on his blog. I'm a bit late, but I will be posting about it in the next couple of days and weeks. And great stuff. Fujifilm's definitely on a roll, on fire, as far as bringing out new gear and staying relevant and going ahead of everything that's out there, I think. And speaking of film simulations, I think the most exciting thing for Ritchie and me, for the both of us, is that they have launched a dedicated website to film simulations. So not only have they produced a camera with a dial, but they now have a website that talks about film simulations in great detail. And they have launched that also at the summit. There's quite a bit of background information that you can find on the website about film simulations in general and the different film sims, the characteristics, and sample images to go with it. And as you may make out on here, depending on how big the screen is that you're looking at, this is one of Ritchie's pictures. He was roped in. This was one of the other projects that he was talking about.
This was the first project, actually. This came about not very long after the initial call, saying that they weren't sure what, they wanted to work with me, but they weren't sure how that would look. And this was the first thing that came out of it. And they assigned me 3 film simulations and said, take some pictures. They said, we encourage you to use recipes. And so, yeah, I was assigned Astia, Nostalgic Negative, and Classic Chrome. And on the website, I have 2 pictures on the under the Nostalgic Negative examples.
Yes, so this is one of them. And at the same time, I also got a call. I also got assigned some film simulations. I produced some images for Classic Chrome, Classic NIG, and Nostalgic NIG. So we've got the link on the site here. It's not easy to navigate to it at the moment. I hope that they will resolve that in the future, because they're kind of like embracing this as the third leg to their products. It's not, so it's cameras and lenses and film simulations. This is how this was explained to me. So I'm hoping that in future they will have a tab where you can actually just go to film simulations. At the moment, it's still a bit buried inside of the website.
I think it's all still a work in progress, and I think there's a little bit more that's going to come out with it in the future.
Yes, there is more content than that we created for them. It was not only those sample images. So keep on the lookout. I think we will be shouting about it when more stuff gets published. But yeah, it was a really cool project to be part of, and it was nice that we both were part of this. And
we had no idea until towards the end of it, I think.
Yes. Yeah. So so much for having to keep things secret.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is what we've been very busy with, and I think we're both very relieved that we can finally talk and write about it. So many stories to come.
Yep.
And and this is kind of like the end of our official part, the end of what Fujifilm's been up to over the last couple of weeks, which we wanted to update you on. And now that we are at the end of it,
the fun part of the show.
Now that we are at the end of it, it's time for more stories, but not stories from us, but rather from our awesome guest, Simon, who I hope is still waiting for us in the green room. Okay, Simon, it is time for you to join us. Again, I'm just giving him a bit of a heads up that he, straightens up and puts his big smile on. Simon, are you ready for us? We are bringing you right back here.
Hi, Simon.
Hello, Simon.
Hello, I'm in. Hello.
You're still awake.
Yeah. No, first of all, thank you, both of you again, as it is an honor for you to meet Omar. It is quite an honor for me to meet both of you, and you and some of the audience knows that it's not the first attempt for me being here. It was a year and a half ago. I wanted to be in your Christmas show, it was, with 5 or 6 other guests at this time. Very crowded show it was, but the flu had me down, so today I'm here.
Yes, it's taken a year and a half to bring you back, but we are awesome that we finally made it, that we can have you here, that we can, listen to your story, hear your story. It's great that we can give you this platform to share with everyone else in the audience, to hear and see your images. And speaking of images, I think we should jump in there. So let's shuffle us around, and let's go right ahead. Just as a bit of an introduction, in case you are new here or new to the show, or have not heard about our legendary Christmas party from a year and a half ago. That was like the longest show in the history of live shows, I think, which was like over 3 hours long or something. We did crazy things on the day, we haven't had a live guest since. It's just times have been we readjusted and so forth, and finally we are back here. Simon's been shooting with recipes for a while. He's been part of a great supporter of the show for a very long time, at least a year and a half, 2 years probably, and a hobbyist, I'd say, from Germany. I think getting the fingers wet in the professional game as well, here and there, getting some paid gigs. So yeah, but I think over to you, Simon. You have some pictures that you shared with us that we're going to show here, just to give people a little bit of an insight as to how your whole journey started.
Yeah. Well, when I looked into my photos, thinking about which one to select for today, I simultaneously thought about which recipes would be interesting to throw into the ring, and it was the good old Kodachrome 64 I stumbled across within this photo, and I remember well the wow effect when I saw the result, and it was at the same time me starting to use Fujifilm's or Fuji X Weekly recipes, the film simulations apart from the ones which are already there but kind of clean, not very full of character. Still, I remember how much I was impressed of what you can get out by dialing in your recipes, Ritchie. And at the same time, this is, of course, I'm biased as a father. I was emotionally impacted, and because of the situation, my wife and our daughter. But yeah, I thought this is just perfect and a very nice result straight out of camera.
It's such a sweet moment that you captured, and I really hope that you have this like printed on the wall in your house, because it's a picture that you're gonna cherish for a really, really long time, for your whole life.
So
Right.
Simon, you shared with us that this was really the time sort of the time before you took this image. You just got yourself a camera in preparation for before when your daughter arrived.
Right.
Tell us a
Right.
little bit more about that.
It was in the year 2020, and I did a lot of YouTube University research, what camera to get, and very fast my wife and I, as we had a background of taking pictures with analog cameras, both of us using old cameras, Canon cameras of the 70s, me using the F1 camera from my father. We got hooked up by the analogish style of Fujifilm cameras. And yeah, at first time I heard already of the recipes, of the possibilities to get different kind of JPEG straight out of camera. But it took almost a year since getting the camera to really deep dive into the recipe world, because of course you get the new camera, you pay a lot of money, you have the first time in your life the opportunity of what RAW could deliver, and you want to know about it, and you start trying a lot, researching. You take pictures, and you are sitting like 2 hours in front of one frame, adjusting, bringing back highlights, lifting up shadows in the HDR sector of your photo software. But I knew there was something, and there came the time when our daughter was not a little baby anymore, and when I really got active going out with her all day long, and I thought, there's no time for raw reprocessing. I have to get into what they call film simulation. There are these opportunities inside the camera. Yeah, and once I really started, very fast I left the raw world, but I have to admit I still still conserve them, just because of the ability to later go back to the raw and reprocess them, maybe in XRAW Studio. Not a very advanced piece of software, but it works, and it gives you the freedom or the possibility of experiment a little bit. No? Once you stumble about a new recipe you really love, you can go back and say, there was this shot like this one, and how would it look in Fuji Color Superior 800 instead of Kodachrome 64? So yeah, but just in case of that.
Yes. So do you? So these images here, were they shot in Fuji Color Super HD?
Yes, they were. For this show, I definitely went back and checked double that there were no two copies of different recipes of a raw, because this would indicate me that I reprocessed. Because for the philosophy of the show, I really wanted to take JPEGs I shot straight out of camera without any work at home. So those were Super HD pictures. And I'm seeing now that it says V2, but I think they were Fujicolor Super HG only.
Not the V1, yeah.
The V1, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because those have this analog, absolute analog style, beautiful greens, but we can compare to the V2 virtually, because the V2 is a much cleaner, higher contrast simulation. I thought first of the V2 to throw in the ring, but because I thought it's a recipe I love so much. But then I've all my JPEGs have they are tagged with keywords, so the recipe is always a keyword, and I filtered, and there were not so many photos taken with the V2, and I think I know that I like it, and I always put it on the camera as a backup when I go out with other new recipes. But then I start loving other recipes and use them more. So I very often have the Fujicolor Super HD V2 on my camera, but I haven't shot it so much. Yeah, funny thing.
So by the sounds of it, you love experimenting with lots of different recipes. Did this happen relatively quickly after you discovered recipes and after you realized you don't have time to edit?
Once I fell into this rabbit hole, it was kind of an addiction. Maybe sometimes I have to lay back more, because you don't want to lose of sight the photographing itself when you're out there and change too much between recipes. And the only way to really get to know a recipe is to stay on one for at least a day, or maybe 2, 3, or a whole week. But of course, then you change from outdoor to indoor, and you once you started experiment and you have a handful of recipes, you know when they work best, and then you have backup. So if daylight is gone and you go indoor, you change the recipe.
Correct. So that's a good insight into how you work. Should we move on to the next image?
Yes, as you wish.
So this is, I think, another step towards you getting warmed up with different recipes. Tell us what's happened here.
This is the Kodak Portra 400, definitely V2, but with two small gimmicks. I remember I used an ND filter because it was midday in Puerto Morelos, Mexico, very sunny, very hot, and I put the ND filter on to use it at 2.8, which is what the XF 27 millimeter can, and it was very funny. At the same time, photographically, it was kind of training for me to get out of the comfort zone, to go forward and search the photo you have already in mind. Those guys have been performing like 300-400 meters away. They were quite loud. They had a Bluetooth box on the beach, and they didn't play the typical breakdancers music, what you would think. They had the Jackson's 5 on, so they wanted to entertain with a very positive vibe. And I saw it from the distance that they were performing wild things. They were flying around and stuff like that. And until I got my camera, the hat, the sunscreen, my glasses, and run through the sand, they always were already finished their show. So I prepared myself for the next day, and then I heard them for the first time, and I knew, okay, they will come by, and I waited for them in the middle of the beach. It is that they were looking for the spots where most tourists were, but me and my family, we were in a more family-friendly area with not so much people, so they never would stop by right in front of us. By the way, they wanted to earn some money with their show, so I just waited where we lived, and they passed by. I went over to them, we talked a bit, and they were very lucky that I was interested in taking some shots of them. But it cost me a long-distance walk through the hot sand in midday Mexican sun. And when we arrived to a spot with lots of tourists, they started, and it was really fun, and was a great experience to have the talk first with them, because I already had the confidence to put myself between them and the audience. I thought, okay, they accepted me. I'm their photographer for the next half hour, and this made possible this picture. So because you see that I'm almost on, my head is on his height, and I didn't fear to block the view of some of the tourists, no problem at all. And I got this shot, and I'm very, very happy of it, because I love that I froze him spinning just at the moment where his nose tip like dips the horizon line in the back. Very athletic show, very impressive.
And I think what's, to me, the fascinating thing, like it's a really cool picture. Like every part, you can look to the right, to the left, top to the bottom, and there's something going on that's really cool. But what I really love about it is actually the shadow,
Right.
the man's shadow
on the
pad there. On the board there. That's really cool.
Yes.
Yes, the board. They needed the board because the board made it possible for them to have the grip they need and the resistance to do jumps like that. They would land on the sand later, but they also did all the typical breakdances, spinning on one hand, on the head, and of course they needed, and they were walking around with this board on 4 heads, so they were carrying it around for their performance, right?
Shame. They definitely worked for their money.
Yeah.
But thank you for capturing this. It's definitely a very worthy shot and looking very good in Kodak Portrait 400. But this is not the only performance that you captured. You also got your fingers wet with something very different.
Yes, my great friend Cello. I don't know if he's still here live with us, but he's a DJ, and it's a funny story. We got to know each other because he was a teacher in kindergarten of our daughter, and his passion beside that is DJing, and he does like, how did you call it, Afro tech house, something like that. And he invited me one day or asked if I wanted to shoot him on a gig, so that he could use the pictures for promotional things and on his website and stuff like that. So he was literally DJing inside the bar. It's an hotel bar, and the people were right behind him serving drinks, and friends of him were sitting just in front of him at the bar. Yeah, and the audience was all over the place inside the bar, and outside the bar they were transmitting the music outside. So it was quite a very nice ambience, and I could experiment. I think it was the first time that I did some paid gig with flash, experimenting with flash, off-camera flash, and the beautiful XF 16mm with its very close minimal focus distance allowed me to take just his fingertips in focus.
Very nice
Yeah,
shot.
it's a really cool picture.
He's also still here. We can't see the comments on screen at the moment, but he sent you a live sign. He's still here, buddy, he says.
Right.
Thank you for your support. It is highly appreciated.
Cello, I'm all in for the weekend. He asked me again for the weekend, and I didn't respond him yet.
Okay, there's no soliciting on the show. Yeah, all right. Very cool shot. Anyone else who's in the concert space? Simon's available for shots and gigs in and around Göttingen. I'm sure he would travel further too.
Yes, might be possible.
But there's still some more images that you've got to share with us.
This was in like a farming area where they invited. It was kind of a family ferry thing, and oh my god, I wanted to investigate how do you say this in English. They were doing haircuts to the sheeps there.
They were sharing the sheep.
Sharing, you say? Okay. Sharing the sheeps, and yeah, I absolutely love the recipe. It is Vintage Color V2 because it's very kind of gritty, punchy, in a different way than it is also Kodak Ultramax 400, which we saw before. But I love the skin tones it produces. More on you can use it inside, but I like it more outside. And inside it gets more yellowish, but still can work. And I wanted to throw this in because storytelling is something I want to challenge myself more in the future too. And there are quite a few details in this picture. I like that we talked about this, Nathalie, before. You don't see the sheep, but the sheep is all over the place everywhere.
bits of sheep all over. Yes, you can literally smell it.
And I absolutely love. You see how exhausted the guy is. I don't know if you already saw that he is hanging. He's not only standing there, having his hands on the knees, resting a bit. He is hanging inside a leather band. So he needs this when he is sharing the sheep, because obviously it was a very strength demanding work. And I imagine this helps his back to not break during this exercise. Yeah. Be assured that all sheep are very fine. He absolutely knew what to do, and he had very huge guys assisting him bringing the sheep and guiding the sheep outside. Again, this was challenging for me in the first moment, because you don't see the crowd, but there were 60 people right behind me, like doing a circle around, watching, lots of kids. So I also were like creeping around in front of all of them and going down and taking my shots, and this was the way how I got this shot too.
Nice. And tell me, yes, it is. And you shared with me in preparation how shooting with film simulation recipes helps you to focus on your storytelling. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, well, first, it is kind of a preparation. You decide what to choose. You choose it before, because you know the situation you are gonna be in when you shoot, and once you are there, you only shoot. You have the freedom of being there without. Yeah, it gives you the consistency in the output, right? And the recipes usually control quite a bit the exposure, and there's not so much white balance shift. If it's not, there are some recipes which can be difficult if you suddenly go from very sunny to very cloudy. There could be a shift, but this recipe, for example, is safe for this situation. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And then we've got one more picture to look at, which is one of my absolute favorites. I think it is an absolutely stunning, very classic, timeless portrait.
Yes, I absolutely love this one. It still is not printed. I have it again on my cell phone for a long time right now, but I'm still thinking about the format and where to hang it, or maybe print it in a book, but it will be printed soon, and I absolutely love it. It's a very nice recipe, which is more muted, but still have a beautiful contrast, also in overcast situation like this day. It was very overcast and windy, but still it transports a warm feeling of timeless analog feeling.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and that's
absolutely
what's cool about
lovely.
all your pictures that you shared with us, is that they, like every single one of them, you could convince somebody that it was film. And not that you're trying to convince anybody that it was film, but if somebody was uninitiated, they had no idea, they might very much believe it just by looking at it.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Well, and this is of also in representation of what I vary in. It is portrait photography combined with storytelling, what I really love, and this is where I want to challenge myself much more in the future. I include gigs like the ones with Cello. It is his passion. It is. I try to when I'm with him on a gig, I try to include the story around, not only shoot him, try to include the surrounding and the pre and the after the gig. Sometimes it's difficult because I don't have maybe always the time to be there before and after. But yeah, looking forward for more cello.
Very nice indeed. Well, everyone, let's give a round of applause. My applause is not working anymore. That's not working.
Oh,
There we go.
there we go. Hey.
We can't let you go without the sounds effects to express our appreciation for you coming and for sharing your very, very cool pictures with us. Thank you so much. A lot of people have been very complimentary in the comments. Maybe we can bring those on just now. Everyone, if you don't know yet, please go and follow Simon. It's just Simon Hügly on Instagram. Take a screenshot now so that you don't forget about it. And look at all his awesome images there. There's lots more to feast your eyes on. And and it's been absolutely phenomenal to hear from you and to see, and also knowing that you've been with us for quite some time, if I may say so.
Absolutely.
That we've seen your images kind of like every month you've been submitting and we've seen you grow from strength to strength over quite some time. So it's been really, really awesome to witness that.
Thank you for all the compliments.
Sorry. And for whatever reason, my buttons are not working anymore, so I have to do this. But anyway, but here we go. So I wanted to make sure that we see all the awesome comments that people have been posting. And I need to do this like this for whatever reason. Yeah, I've got a really cool device here with buttons in front of it where I've got everything, all the shortcuts programmed in, but I don't know what happened. It's not working anymore. So, but
Whenever
anyway.
you do a live show, there's always something.
Yes, yeah. Of all the things, it's the buttons, but it's fine. We are here and we've got comments, and that's really cool. Thank you, everyone, for being so active in the comment section and for, for sharing the love with Simon's pictures. It's been really nice to see all of that. And like I said, it's been really cool to see you grow. And also, since our first conversation 1.5 years ago when we wanted to bring you on, and you'd done all the dirty work. You'd prepared for the show. You'd selected all your images. You've done all the hard part. And so we had been chatting already. And at the time you were really, I think, experiencing feedback from different parents, from your daughter's friends, and images that you were taking on the playground and in situations where you then were sharing them with the kids' parents that you were shooting there on the playground, and you were getting positive feedback, and you were like on this road, on this journey where you were really enjoying it and embracing it. And
Absolutely.
How far you've come since then, shooting weddings, shooting gigs with recipes is really, really awesome to see. So good for you.
Thank you for the flowers. Thank you.
It's a great pleasure. Yeah, so they are all your images. They're a bit disjointed now because we're not seeing the pictures, but this was obviously from the Mexican
The breakers shot.
breakers, exactly. Yeah, and you'll see your storytelling image I absolutely love the fact that the sheep was actually not in the picture. We were speaking about this in preparation, and you were saying, like, I don't know if it's like strong enough and whatever. And I think it was very obvious that there was a sheep at some point in the scene. So I like the fact that the sheep wasn't there. I think it makes it a very strong story.
When you can tell the story about something without that object or whatever being in it, that's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It wouldn't have worked without the breaker in the air, but yeah, the sheep.
Well, unless you only had the shadow.
All right.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
For your next visit, for your next Mexican beach visit, you can try that.
Yeah, if there is a gig in Mexico, because as my wife is Mexican, we try to go there as often as possible, or as often as flight prices allow, I would say.
Yeah. So anyone watching from Mexico or somewhere in the vicinity there, Simon's your man. All right. Great stuff. Well, this has been absolutely phenomenal. And I'm noticing now that we never announced that we were running a poll. We had only had that in... Yeah, no, we didn't. And now we want to look at the results. But anyway, we were running a poll, guys. And we wanted to know from you, since we are talking about film simulations and Fujifilm's woken up to it, and I guess Ritchie and I have been like looking a little bit closer at film simulations and isolation and apart from recipes. So we wanted to find out what you think about film simulations. So we ran this poll and we now have the results. But as I said, my button's not working, so I need to do this manually. But here we go. So let me just turn off the comment. And let's have a look here. So we have a couple of votes. And we thought we take a look at the more recent launched film simulations. And not really surprisingly, Classic Chrome is in front.
Yeah,
we know that it is your, Ritchie, you are very fond of Classic Chrome.
Yeah, I like Classic Chrome. I like Classic Nate. I like pretty much all those, maybe in this list, Eternal Bleach Bypass is the lowest on that list, but I think from what I've seen, those who use film simulation recipes, Classic Chrome is by far and away the most popular. So I'm not at all surprised that it's the one that would be leading this poll.
Yes, and if you wish to, you are still more than welcome to vote. The link is in the comments, so if you want to share with us which is your favorite film simulation, you can do so. The poll is still open and will stay open for the next couple of days, so don't be shy. Give us your vote. And Simon, which one is your favorite film simulation?
I am thinking all the time, the poll doesn't say favorite, it says interesting. So we could get very philosophical about that now, but
yeah, let's not. Let's not.
Are you changing it officially to favorite, or because if it's interesting, I would throw something in what both of you almost didn't have in. It's only the Eterna, not the Bleach Bypass, but the Eterna. Just lately, I found it more and more interesting, and I just started trying out different, really filtering throughout your app, Ritchie, filtering the Eterna film sim and like checking out what is already there. And lately, when I was in Berlin, for example, the last time at the Fujikina, I was playing around with your, oh God, what is the name of the Italian director, I guess? Ferragna.
Okay.
Ferragna somewhat 400.
Yeah, the Solaris. Yeah,
Solaris Ferragna
yeah,
400, yeah, possibly. Okay.
yeah.
Very interesting recipe. So yeah,
Okay,
I
so there's a
wouldn't lose off track the Eterna film simulation.
Yeah, I
And
think
our friend
like.
Robert Brining also is lately into it. We
Mhm.
were just chatting about it. And he is kind of with a work in process on his Instagram lately, posting pictures with that, which I found very interesting. I love the blue tones of sky and reds, and I think
Mhm.
for beginner with Eterna, it might be always helpful just to push color up to 4 if you want
Mhm.
to get started, because I think what most people let's feel like you is the lack of contrast and color. And if once you push it very hard, you usually wouldn't. I mean, Velvia, you wouldn't ever push to +4, or maybe you wouldn't do so with Nostalgic. But do it with Eterna, and you get very different results.
there you
Yeah,
go.
I agree with that. Yeah, there's so like the original like Eterna recipe. I think that's what it's called, is Eterna. Is is really fascinating in that it does push it up to its limits, and you get these really cool like vintagey results with it. It's a
Mhm.
lot of fun.
Yeah, we've used at least one recipe before that was based on Eterna. Was it? Anyway, but there are so many different ones to choose from. But
You
I
mean in
think
the
what I
show
wanted,
or privately?
no,
I
in
think in the show.
it was one of the recipes of the month
Yeah. There was
before.
some.
I
I remember. Yeah.
don't remember. Was it vintage color? I don't remember. But Kodak Vision 3250D.
Yes,
Maybe it
yeah,
was that
that's
one.
what it was. Yeah, that's what it
I think
was.
that's a fun one to use. And that uses
Yes,
Oh, that
Eterna.
one had Eterna. Okay.
yes,
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to ask you, Ritchie, is it correct, or which of the film simulations would you say is most represented in your recipes?
Probably classic chrome.
Yeah, is it? Is it the most, do you find it the most versatile, or is it just the base for a lot of the film looks that you are emulating?
Yeah,
Do you
I
know
would
if
say
there's a
that,
connection?
because the connection is that classic chrome is kind of a Kodak palette. So there was a lot of Kodak films, a lot of Kodak looks. Kodak was obviously, more popular in the analog days than Fujifilm was. So, um, for that reason, I don't know if it's the most versatile. Um, I guess maybe. I think Eterna can be very versatile, as we were talking about, because if it has a flatter
Yes.
tonality, has a very unique tonality, and for that reason, you can do a lot with it. Um, even
Yeah,
even
that makes sense.
classic negative, the way that it responds to over and under exposure and stuff like that, um, can be quite interesting, and because of that, can be versatile.
Yes.
But I don't know. I guess it's a hard question. I guess Acros is the most versatile, because you use it anytime.
Yes. You can use it anytime and it will always be black and white.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I see people keep voting. Thank you so much. That's really cool. We've crept up on quite a few more responses, but Classic Chrome is staying ahead. So yeah, I guess that says a lot. Thank you guys for voting. Like I said, you can still carry on voting if you wish. It's always really cool to get that feedback from you guys and to hear what you feel. So keep on voting, even though we are going to go ahead, but the votes will stay open. So yeah, so don't be shy. We want to go back to our presentation because we want to give a shout out to everyone. So as you know, we always ask you to upload some images for recipes that we suggested. And in our last episode, we recommended 3 different recipes for you to try out. And because this episode, we are not going to introduce a new recipe, we thought we carry on with the recipes that we have introduced in the last show. And we are going to give you another 10 days to upload some images. So these are the recipes that we had talked about in quite a bit more detail. So if you missed that show, go back and watch it and learn all about the different recipes and what they stand for and what kind of images you can expect from them. We've received some really awesome uploads already, but we always keen on more. So the upload folder is still open and the recipes are dropping in the comments as we speak. But just a quick shout out to some of you who have uploaded. Here is a very cool image that Dan Allen captured as the aurora lights were like causing havoc all over the world, except for Johannesburg. I was very tempted to repost an image of someone. I don't know if you guys have seen that on social media. It was just an ordinary everyday scene, and someone had scribbled with highlights all over it and said like, oh, this is me. I just also wanted to be part of it. I never saw the actual lights, so I thought it was really funny. But yeah. I don't know. Did any of you guys see it, Ritchie? Simon?
I did not.
You didn't. I don't. The lights were northern lights were not in Germany either.
I think they were, but unfortunately there was no energy to go out at night in these days. I think our daughter was at home. It was quite challenging and we were too sleepy.
Okay. All right. Well, I did not see them, so thank you for letting us be part of that, Dan. Very cool.
Yeah.
And Torsten submitted this image in Kodak Ultramax 400. I think it's just a really cool, nice, expressive street scene. So thank you for that upload. So if you are into street photography, try this recipe or any of the other ones. Check it out and then share your results with us. We definitely always keen to see your images and what you create. So please don't be shy. You still get another 10 days. Angela sent us this really cool picture, and I absolutely love the mood of this in this recipe.
Yeah, the blues, how the blues render with this recipe matched that scene really well. I like the line of boats that you follow into the distance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just a little bit of inspo in case you have not uploaded images. I know there are people watching who have not uploaded images, so do take a moment, grab some pictures and share them with us. We would love to see them. Once we get to our final deadline of the 4th of June, we will collate them all into one of our viewers' slideshows and post them on this channel as always. So you have until the 4th of June. Grab a screenshot, that's the link, scan the code, or check out the link in the comments to share and upload your images with us. We love to grow this community, make the circle bigger. So bringing you in to get you shooting is definitely something that we're very passionate about. If you know other people who would find this interesting, do share that with them, and let them know about us. We definitely always keen to get more people in on the fun. And there we go. We are at the question and answers part of the show.
Yeah, so if you've been holding on to a question, this is your opportunity. Just ask away anything you want to know about Fujifilm cameras, film simulation recipes.
If you want to ask Simon a question,
what pizza is Simon's favorite, anything like that.
Yes, how to make sauerkraut, don't ask us.
No.
I wanted to ask you, have you ever heard of sauerkraut quiche?
No, I haven't heard about that either, and I kind of feel the same as I do about sauerkraut pizza or anything related to sauerkraut.
Next time you're in Germany, we have to, Marcella has to do her favorite and very famous sauerkraut quiche.
Okay.
Or I
really
will learn the recipe and prepare.
Okay.
I did it once.
All right. I will, open my heart to it since it comes with an invite and a very kind gesture. So I will definitely try it out. I don't know how it will, land, but then again, you need to try something new every time. So
gotta try something new.
Yeah, let's try something new.
Can you get a can of sauerkraut in South Africa?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can also get Nutella. You can get all kinds of chocolate. You can pretty much find most food things.
And we just send you the recipe.
There you go.
Yeah. So I can get acquired to the taste. But before we get too carried away about sauerkraut, Dan has actually asked or given us a really cool idea here. He says we need a special edition model with the top film sim recipes loaded.
Yeah, that would be incredible. That would, if you could have 11 Fuji X Weekly recipes already on the dial on the top, preloaded. That's how the camera came. That would be pretty awesome. And I think with not to get too much into other brands, but like Panasonic, they launched an app where you can put LUTs on your camera through the app. Fujifilm, that'd be cool if you could put recipes on the X app and wirelessly transfer them to the camera. So if anybody from Fujifilm happens to watch this, that's an idea for you.
Yes. Since this year's the year where you are bringing out all sorts of new cool things.
Yeah, I don't know what else may happen. I'm not like an ambassador like you are, Nathalie. So, but who knows?
To me, no.
Yeah, but yeah, hopefully there's more coming, and like I said, I have no idea what, but I'd love to talk with Fujifilm more about what my ideas for their cameras are and that kind of thing.
But didn't you submit your wish list in New York?
No, I didn't really have a chance to speak with I just very briefly had a chance to speak with somebody that probably has the influence to actually make those kind of changes. But it was very good encounter, but it was very short.
So the moment when you intruded into the meeting and ate the appetizers, that was not the moment to choose.
That was not the moment. It did come later. There's obviously 100 stories I could tell. But yeah, I did get to meet some people that probably do have some sort of influence on how the cameras are designed and features and that kind of stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to chat with them more later. Well, I have no idea, but I'm hoping. Fingers crossed.
Yes. Well, let's hope that there's lots more coming. Sorry, the comments are keeping on coming, and we're not. We are appreciating them, but we're just too wrapped up in all sorts of other talk. Thorsten says the film sim dial is a late April Fool's joke. It brings no functionality and castrates the analog look and feel of the XT line. Okay, Thorsten is not a fan of this dial. I can hear that. Oh well, different strokes for different folks. But
well, I know not everybody, definitely not everybody likes it, and I know I'm kind of in the minority in that I do like it. I think that's and probably people are probably surprised. I don't know. I think probably people are surprised that I do actually like it. I think the functionality of it could have been. I think it could have been implemented better. But even as it is, it's still useful, and I enjoyed how I figured out how to use it. I enjoyed using it that way.
yeah, so I think you're making an extremely valid point here, Ritchie. So the thing is not to look at it as an X Pro line or an X100. It's a different kind of a camera. It speaks to different people, and how, Ritchie, you found a way to to make the most out of the functionality, I think is really interesting. So go and read Ritchie's blog post about it and try it out if you get a chance. I think it makes a lot of sense and it's really interesting, and I think new people will really appreciate this way of looking at it. And I'm sure that Fujifilm will be very grateful for you to also having brought this up. Yeah, it's really interesting. So yeah, so we just, need to go with the flow, embrace something new. And not everything is for us, but that doesn't mean that it may not be useful for other people. And from my side, I think it's just really cool that Fujifilm is bringing in film simulations in a big way. So yay about that from my side.
Yeah.
But there are a lot more other comments coming through. Thank you so much for being so very active in the comments today. It's really awesome. And if you have any more questions, shoot them our way just now before we wrap this up. It's been really cool chatting to everyone. I have really enjoyed your input there, Simon, and seeing all your images and a different commentary about recipes and how you use them. And I hope that people will have found that useful, or if you're looking at this after live, so as a recording, there's a lot of value in the different images that you shared and your way of thinking about how to use the recipes in the different situations. So there you go. Julie has not tried Super HG, so maybe she found that inspirational. And there are hopefully other people who also found this inspirational to try other recipes. And
oh yeah, Santa color. Yeah, that's a good suggestion by Dan. I don't know if you tried that one, Simon, but
no,
yeah, you got that. That's one to try.
Okay.
There you go. So even though we haven't suggested any recipes for you to choose, there is a lot of recipes that you can now try. And the Southern Lights were in Australia as well. So something clearly happened that they were everywhere. Oh, he was in South Africa. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we did not. At least not in the north. They were in Cape Town. People captured them there, but that's obviously not where I am. So, yeah. But anyway, I'm happy for everyone who captured them. Okay, there's a long comment from Dan. He's saying he's interested in how Ritchie is working with the new film SimDial. I know it's less than ideal for recipes or workarounds. How does it work in application? Dan, I think it's maybe, is it a bit of a lengthy, give us a quick overview and then we'll point people at your article. How about that?
Yeah, so I wrote about it in detail, but if you want the quick version, basically you need a recipe that works well with every film simulation. And of course, that's tricky because most don't. Most, if you have it on, let's say it's a classic Chrome recipe and you switch it to another film simulation, it just doesn't look that great. Occasionally, you do find one that you can work with several, but I tried and I figured out one that does work well with pretty much any film simulation. So you program that into your camera, and then when it's on that setting, then you can use the dial to turn to the different film simulations and find the one that works best in whatever light or subject scenario that you find yourself in.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a short story.
Thank you. That was the short story. It's really cool. A very awesome way of thinking about it. It's really interesting. Go read up all about it. And I mean, if you don't have the camera, you can't try it out. But anyway, it's still a really nice way. We don't know when the new firmware will bring Reala Ace to the other cameras. When it was first announced, they were talking about mid-2024, so that would be July. So that's coming soon, hopefully. There will be noise around it very soon, so that you guys don't need to wait for it all that much longer. But we don't know any official statements about that yet. Okay. All right, that could be interesting. Are you up for the challenge, Ritchie? I don't think he means on a pizza.
No, probably not on a pizza with mustard.
Kind of like green and yellow tones.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Nathalie, I already read the comment from Cello. Maybe you can help me out. Is there something?
Boerewors. That is very South African. I don't know. Today is the food show, clearly. It all started with a pizza in New York, and it ended up all the way to a very traditional South African dish. And clearly in New York, people like sauerkraut. But boerewors is a traditional, it's farmer's sausage, really, in Afrikaans, one of the local languages. And people absolutely love it, including my husband. It's a spicy sausage. And I believe there are lots of South Africans also in Germany, so you can get boerewors in Germany now as well. Okay. And it needs to be prepared by a local, so yeah. And if it's not boerewors, it's a potjiekos. We will share all those recipes, apart from Kodachrome and Fujicolor, etc., including sauerkraut, boerewors, and potjiekos in the comments. And we can have a cook-off in the next episode. How about that?
Sounds perfect.
Dan wants to know which recipes you would pick. For the camera.
Well, here becomes a problem is that the recipes that I would pick are probably ones that Fujifilm themselves would shy away from because of the names. So I would pick Kodachrome 64, Kodak Portra 400 V2. And as soon as I suggest those, Fujifilm's like, no, those aren't going on the dial. So
you need to rename them.
Yeah.
They're gonna get aliases.
Yeah, they have to have. So I did to kind of do that a little bit with the project that we did.
Yes.
For Fujifilm, but that's a whole nother story. So
yes,
we'll have to do another episode. It's just story time. I can tell you all sorts of stories.
That sounds absolutely amazing. I think that's really cool. We should do that. And before we close, Dale saying that your name came up in the Tech Talk yesterday.
Oh, was there a Tech Talk yesterday?
There was a Tech Talk yesterday. This one's for you, Ritchie. Yeah. And a little bit of self-advertising here. a link to the previous episode, but if you are on the channel, go wild. There's loads and loads of previous episodes, and we believe full of information that you can learn, and lots of recipes that we have recommended before. So if you find yourself in a pickle and you're not sure what recipes to go for, scroll through the playlists and, take your pick. And on that happy note, I think it is time for us to slowly wrap it up. It's been absolutely cool. We've had way too much fun chatting here. It's been really cool, and I am amazed at all the things about sauerkraut. I clearly need to change my attitude to it. I will do so. I believe it's very healthy, so let me not be a spoiler. And if you think that anybody would find this content interesting, please share our channel with the people. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Give us a thumbs up. We want to carry on with the show, and every little bit helps. And having had all of you here today has been absolutely awesome. It's been really cool to see so many of you here yet again, and also to see all the many comments and questions. It's really cool. It's nice and vibey. It's always very refreshing to be here. So thank you, Angela, and thank you, Simon. Thank you, Ritchie. It's been absolutely great to be here. To have you here, Simon, was really wonderful, and I'm going to give you a special shout out. You've been fantastic. Thank you so much. I hope it was not too nerve-wracking.
No, well, some, but I I survived, and I come back.
You sailed through this like a trooper, and it's been really cool. So thanks once again also for all your time and invaluable input, Ritchie. It's been really wonderful to spend all this time with all of you guys.
Yep. Thanks, Natalie, for all you do, and Stanley in the back, and Simon for coming on. It's much appreciated, and I love seeing your pictures. I loved hearing your stories, and I hope we can do this again sometime soon.
Thank you, Ritchie. And
Yes.
Thanks to all the audience, the positive feedback in the comments.
Yes, it's all yours, Simon. So thank you, guys. On this happy note, you all have a wonderful day further, evening, or whatever time it may be. Have a good night, a good day. Carry on shooting lots of awesome JPEGs, and don't forget about our challenge. If you haven't yet, upload your images. You still have some time to be part of the next Viewer Slideshow. On that happy note, goodbye, everyone, and keep working.
Bye.
Good night, and thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy the show.